Hello, today we are going to install the software HCL Domino server and HCL Notes, the client for HCL Domino, version 14, recently released, 7th of December last year. So this is the product that's formerly known as Lotus Notes, then IBM Notes, has been with the company HCL for a number of years. Let's see how it looked like or looks like. This is the FAT client, which is HCL Notes. It's primarily an email client, but also an app delivery server, and the FAT client is able to run locally those applications that you have installed centrally and managed centrally on the HCL Domino server. Okay, let's see how we get access to the installers. You will need to create an account with HCL and buy a license for HCL Domino. Then you go to the logon account website, which is id.hcltechsoftware.com. And then the procession of web pages looks like this. Once you log in with your user and password that you receive from the invoice after you buy the HCL Domino license, you get into this Okta page. In here, you go to the license and download portal. This is how it looks like. You should be entitled to HCL Notes Domino Complete Collaboration. And then inside your downloads, you have the option of going to HCL Domino Downloads. This is the list of available downloads which are related to HCL Domino. In here, you should select New Versions tab. This is selected by default. And then I have sorted descending by release date. So April 2024, and then we go back to December 2023. In here we find HCL Domino Complete Collaboration 14. Click on that. You get a list of software that's related to HCL Domino 14. There's HCL Domino servers for Linux, for the IBM operating systems, for Windows. There's language packs or non-English US. So you should download this thing, HCL Domino 14.0 for Windows English. We are on a computer that has the operating system Windows 11 Pro. So this executable. And that was the server part. And now we also need the client part, which consists of the applications HCL Notes, which is the FAT client. This is what regular users use. And then your Domino developers, Domino administrators will need additional applications, additional HCL Domino clients. So there's the HCL Domino Designer. This is for developers, and the Domino Admin. This is for Domino administrators. Again, for Windows, because we're on Windows 11, we're going to install both the server and the client on the same machine, which is allowed. So this is the executable that we want. And this is it. We have the installers here. This is the server and this is the client. Let's run the server first. And so this is a 7 WinZip self-extractor. Run unzip. And we need to plan how we're going to install HCL Domino, what names we will use for the HCL Domino server. So this computer, let's see its name. So the name is Win11. So we should use that. For the computer name, for the server name, and for the server final name. And then the user that we're going to create inside the HCL Domino server is going to be named administrator. And the organization name or Domino domain name will be Domino.org from Domino organization. So this is our plan. You should always start with a plan like this before installing HCL Domino, even on a test machine. Okay, HCL Domino installer has started. This is probably a Java application, English US, okay. It says that only supports the Windows Server version, so Windows Server 2019 and Windows Server 2022. I trust that it will run correctly on Windows 11 Pro, so let's try our luck. Says that they did not test on Windows 11, which I find it hard to believe, so I want to continue yes. Okay, also looks as like a Java application, installer wizard, install anywhere. Next, EULA. We are going to keep the default installation directory, so that's c:\program files HCL Domino. And then the subdirectory data, very important directory in HCL Domino. Windows username. I'm not sure what this thing is. In here, we're going with the default. We want both messaging, which is the email server, and also the application server. We want to run many other Domino applications on the clients, except the ones for personal information management, so the mail, address book, bookmarks. That's why we also want the application services. We keep the default in here. Next. Let's see what it did. So correct install directory, correct data directory, not partitioned. Dominoverse help. Okay, install. Let's see how and where it installs software. So that's program files 64-bit, HCL, and then Domino. We'll be back in a second. Okay, so it says that it's 100% done and it's installing Windows link files. So shortcuts on the desktop on the start menu. choose done to exit the wizard. Let's do that. And we have on the desktop new icons, HCL Domino server and console. And let's see what we have in the start menu. At the letter H, HCL Domino console and server, the same two applications that exist now on the desktop. Let's start installing also the client. Probably also a self-extractor. At some point, we will need to actually configure the HCL Domino server. It was just installed. We did not create a user. It's not really functional. So we want the nodes client without migration tools. That's okay. We want the Domino designer with everything. Domino administrator. I don't want a dashboard, tasks. I'm not sure what this is. Dictionaries, I'm fine with just English. Same time, this is instant messaging. I'm going to not install it. Okay, so we have installed the server. We did not configure yet the server, and we're now installing the client. Next step would be to configure the server and run the server for now just as a simple executable, not as a Windows service. Okay, so under the same install directory, because both applications are 64-bit in my case, both the HCL nodes, which is the client, and the HCL Domino, which is the server. So // program files / HCLs, which is the Windows 64-bit program files directory. We have a directory for the server, a directory for the client, Domino and nodes. Both have this important directory, which is the directory data. Nodes has the directory data in here. Both contain similar technologies, so Java, OSGI, Eclipse, NSF, NTF. This is the Java virtual machine, and this is the Java virtual machine. These are some NTF files for the server, and these are some NTF files for the client. These are OSGI Java packages. XSP is a web server technology that uses Java and Domino. So you can have web apps that run without needing any HCL Domino client, just a regular web browser. Okay. We'll be back in a second. Okay. So this is the final installer wizard page of the client part. Finish. And now let's configure the server. Let's see, probably this thing. Do you want to allow this app to make changes? This is the user account control prompt. Yes. Okay, so generally when you double click on the HCL Domino server and HCL Domino server is not configured to run as a Windows service. If it's configured to run as a Windows service, then yes, it starts automatically when you start Windows. But if it's not configured, then when you double click on this icon, HCL Domino server, the Domino server will start with all of its components. But now it cannot start because HCL Domino server was installed but was not configured. And instead of starting the server, it actually starts the HCL Domino server configuration wizard, which is this thing. Also looks like Java. Next, set up the first server, not an additional one. And in here, the strings that we have prepared will come in handy. So server name should be Win11. Optional, provide a short title. I want to use an existing server ID. No such thing. Organization name, domino.org. Okay, organization certifier password. We will put in here the password. I want to use an existing certifier ID. I do not have such a thing. Under customize advanced organization settings, I do not need to do anything. Next, Domino domain name. Next, we create the user administrator. No first name, no middle name, last name, or generic account name admin. Let's make this administrator. Administrator password. Okay, so no first name, no middle name, the user that we decided previously, which is this one, administrator. I'll make it all lowercase, which is safer. Okay. Administrator password, confirm the password, will be stored inside the server's Domino directory. So the HCL Domino server has something similar to Microsoft Active Directory, which is a phone book, address book server, which is called the Domino directory. Also save a copy in the data directory of the server. It's called admin.id. Okay, set up internet services for we can enable additional features later. Let's have HTTP services. This will allow us to run inside of the HCL Domino server the server named iNotes, which is a web application that users can use in order to read email from just a web browser. So if your users are on a mobile phone, if they know the IP address of the iNotes server, of the HCL Domino server, they can connect via a web browser. They will be greeted with a full-fledged mail reader experience inside the web browser. Okay, SMTP, POP3, IMAP. Do I want these? Yes, I want them. Okay, so just defaults plus I've enabled web browsers and internet mail clients. Next. Let's see these. Do we want to encrypt, compress? No. TCP IP. Port driver. I don't have a host name that's publicly routable, so there's this virtual machine does not have a host name to which I can connect using a mobile phone from another country. Okay. Next. It's not fully specified. That's okay. Prohibit anonymous access to all database and templates. Add local domain admins group to all databases and templates, of course. Next. So let's recap. Server name win11 domino.org. Organization name domino.org. Domino domain name. Okay. The name of the user is administrator. Setup. Congratulations. This is the final page of the setup wizard for the HCL server. Finish. And now we need to start the HCL Domino server. So the HCL Domino server has been installed, configured correctly, but it's not currently running. Let's prove that. How do we do that? Select columns. We do not want the description. Instead, we want the command line and the image path name. Okay. We can order by image path name, for instance. And we need to search for the directory c:\program files \HCL. Let's look at all of the processes. So indeed, nothing from HCL runs except this thing, which is probably the auto update service for the client. Or maybe the synchronization service that synchronizes automatically databases, NSF files, NTF files from the HCL server to the HCL client. Okay, so let's start the Windows service, the HCL Domino server. Okay, UAC prompt, and in here we should run HCL Domino as a Windows service, but for testing purposes, for now, while we're installing and configuring HCL Domino correctly, for a while, so just for a number of days, we will run HCL Domino server as a console application, not as a Windows service. So this is what you should do, and this is what I do temporarily. Okay, this is the standard output from the server. It's actually debug log lines. It's starting the JVM, the email standard servers, POP3 IMAP, the HTTPS server, how do we find out if the server has finished starting? XSP, this is HTTPS app server. The HTTP server has finished starting. Next up, we should try to start the client, which is this icon on the desktop, HCL nodes, and connect HCL nodes, or connect the HCL Domino clients with the HCL Domino server. So let's see. This is the first run wizard because the HCL Domino client has never been run before, has never been configured, doesn't know which HCL Domino server to connect to. So it shows this first run wizard, HCL nodes client configuration. Next, your name. My name is probably this. Domino server name, this thing. I want to connect to a Domino server. You can use HCL nodes just as a regular email client. For instance, in order to connect to the big email providers, Gmail or M365. Next, the password. Okay, this is old graphical user interface, this dialog that you can see in here. This splash screen is new graphical user interface. This dialog is old graphical user interface. You can see the difference in theme. In here, the buttons are 3D and the edges are higher than the content. And also uses these icons for next and previous. Okay, so it says it has configured HCL nodes client to connect to the HCL Domino server. Do you want something extra inside of the HCL Domino client? So do we want to read another email account, for instance, from Gmail? No, we do not want. Newsgroup server, these things have disappeared in the last 20 years. Internet proxy servers, I can connect to the internet without specifying any HTTP proxy. Next. So I did not check anything. I just kept the defaults. Okay, this is the splash screen from Eclipse, which is a Java framework that you can see in here. Okay. Let's see if the server is running. It is running because this is the only thing, the only debug log line that was logged before I have actually connected the HCL client to the server. So I'm going to guess that these lines were generated by the HCL Domino client talking to the server. So I can see connection in here. I can see the correct username, administrator domino.org, said opened session. Probably the installer wizard of the client has opened and closed some transactions. Okay, names.nsf is the Domino directory application. Okay, let's read the email. You can click on this button in the toolbar, open mail. Let's see what it's doing. The first time when a client connects to the server, it will ask the server, hey, do you have a mail application for me? And the server will send that mail application, the NTF. If the NTF already exists on the client, then it will send what's new in the structure elements in the NTF file. So NTF files contain NTF files and NSF files. Let's look at one. So this is the directory. This contains the global address book that you have in your organization, contains your organizational units, the way your organization is structured. So this is an application, has the extension NSF. This file, which has the extension NTF, is a template. This is used for creating applications. This is the NTF, the template that is being used in order to create the application that contains the debug logs probably. Okay, this is mail 14 NTF. This is the template that's being used in order to create the mail application for each of the users. When we created a new user on the server named administrator, then this NTF files has been taken from here by the HCL Domino server, mail14.ntf inside of the data directory. A new directory, a subdirectory has been created, this subdirectory mail, and the NSF file has been copied in here with the name administ.nsf, which makes such that administ.nsf has an identical content to mail 14.ntf, has identical design items, but in addition to that, it will have data items, which data items are the actual emails. The structure would be tables, and the table structures, the name of the columns, the types of the columns, whereas data would be rows in those tables. So an email is a row of type message. Okay, let's see why the client could not connect to the server. Close the program. How do we close this thing? So should be in C program files some HCL nodes, and there's only one application. So this is the service that's running all of the time. We want to leave this always running. The GUI application for the client is this one, nodes 2. So let's kill it and process 3. Yes. Where are you? Let's see if we can use the other applications in order to connect to the server. Let's go with the HCL Domino console. You are not connected to the server. Let's see how we connect. So the server is this one. The user is named administrator. And the password just a second, let me connect. So I was investigating why I cannot use the second application that's installed as part of the server part. So that's all apps HCL Domino console. This actually starts the Domino server as a command line executable, but then this Domino server. But then there's also this application HCL Domino console, with which I could, in previous versions of HCL Domino, connect to the HCL server, Domino server that's running on the current computer. It was usually just a matter of clicking on this button, everything worked out. But then even if I specify in here everything correctly, it cannot connect, and of course it cannot connect because nothing is listening on port 2050. So on port 2050 there's nothing listening. And the error is something like nothing is listening on port 2050, or the server controller is not running. If I search for this error on the internet, I get to this article where it says that it cannot bind to TCP port 2050. Maybe it's firewalled. So let's actually look at that thing. Windows Defender Firewall with Advanced Security. I have all three profiles disabled because I'm just installing, configuring HCL Domino. I will do the hardening in another installation. So this installation is just to make sure everything works correctly, and then I'll do a clean installation where the firewall is configured correctly, everything is configured correctly, where I'm just replaying all of the steps that I have learned in this installation. Okay, so port 2050 is not firewalled and is free. And then it says that I should edit notes.ini, which is this file, C program files HCL Domino, so the HCL Domino server installation directory, and then data, and then notes.ini. In here, we should make sure these two settings are like this. So server controller is 0, and I should put it to 1. And then TCP/IP controller, TCP/IP address, I should put what? Either this IP address ending in 188, which is the IPv4 address of the virtual network interface card of the virtual machine, or 000:2050. Okay, but even so, even if one of the applications does not work, which is again, this application does not work, we have an alternative, which is either to look in the output window of the HCL Domino server. In here, we can also enter commands. So that's what you would use HCL Domino console for, to see the output from the server and to enter commands. So I can do this thing in here. But then I have also the alternative, which is this client application. So these two applications are from HCL Domino server. These three applications are from the HCL Domino client. So one of the client applications, HCL Domino admin, is this one. And in here, I can connect successfully to the Domino server. I can successfully see its standard output, the console, what it writes in there, the debug log lines. And then I can also send commands to the server. And I should use the live option if I want to see the output from the server. So I go live. This sends commands to the server, and because it's live, the output from the server, I can see it in this application, HCL Domino Administrator. So at least one of the HCL Domino client applications can connect correctly to the Domino server. Let's just minimize HCL Domino Administrator, not close this application. And open HCL Notes now. Double click on the icon on the desktop. I guess it's starting. So should start both correctly and fast, because another client application is already running. Okay, and here we have the application. Because all of three client application, HCL Domino Admin, HCL Domino Designer, and HCL Notes, are just a single process. So this process with process ID 9240 nodes 2. Once you open one of these three applications, it will ask you for what HCL Domino server you want to connect to and credentials in order to connect to that server. Once one of the applications is running, when you start the other applications start a bit faster because the app is already running. And then the additional applications will not ask for which Domino server to connect to and the credentials. Okay, so this is one of the 3 client applications. Let's try to read the mail again. And this time we have better success. So the application, the NSF file has arrived correctly on the FAT client. Let's see exactly where it is. How do we find out? File, application, properties. So it's on the server, the application mail/admins.nsf, the thing that we saw previously. So in the install directory of the server, data directory, and then mail and admins.nsf. This. So it's not a local Domino application, it's a remote Domino application. Domino uses interchangeably the string database and application. So database and application both are the same thing, which is a file with the extension NSF. Okay, and the template from which this application NSF file has been created is an NTF file. That's a Domino template with this name, Domino template name stdr14 mail, which we know exactly which one it is, which is this one. mail14.ntf on the server data directory. Okay, so the structure is correct. There's no emails in here. There's no data. So let's try to send an email to ourselves. New message. Let's see if auto-completion works. Administrator/domino orgs on its an email address that doesn't look like an email address, doesn't have the @ sign. It has slash, so it's this email is going to travel just through the Domino protocols, not through standard internet protocols, not through SMTP, IMAP, POP3, etc. To from subject 2024-04-10 and the same body. Send the email. Should be inside of the directory sent. It's in here. Should be inside the directory inbox. How do we see this? In here. And should be inside of the directory all. Where is that? All documents in here. In all documents, we have both the sent email and the received email. Okay, so this is HCL nodes, also called a FAT client. The desktop client can be installed on Mac OS and Windows. It has this start page. It's shown in a tab, so you can close it. Then the second tab is the application mail/admins.nsf. And in here, if we open one of the emails, so this is just previewing the email, we're still inside of the tab for the mail application. So it's three-paned. The left pane is the tree of email directories, etc. Bottom right is the preview for the email, and the top right is the list of emails in the currently selected directory. There's a toolbar. There's a context menu. There's a refresh button, a new button, forward reply, and there's also possibilities to reply and forward from the right-click menu on a single selected email. This is the new GUI. It's a Eclipse SWT Java dialog. I can see the theme in here being used. Okay. What else? This is a collapsible sidebar that gives fast access to other functionalities in the same area as groupware, personal information management, email. So you will have in here calendar and instant messaging, same time, and I don't know, to-do lists, etc. Okay, let's open the calendar application. You can open it, so let's go back to the mail application. You can open it from the toolbar, open mail. You can open it in this menu in the toolbar, open, drop down, and then mail. You can go open, drop down, and then applications, and then workspace, and open administrator on Win11. Again, we need to make sure that it's that application, not another one, by going to the main menu of HCL Notes, File, Application, Properties, and we can see in here that it's running on the server and it's mail/admins.nsf. Okay, in here where it says on local, these are NSF files from here, from the installation, from the data directory of the client. Where it says on Win11, that's the name of the server. These are NSF files from the data directory of the server. So this is from the data directory of the server, this is from the data directory of the server, and these three are from the data directory of the client. A server, you can see on Win11, and these three are from the client. Let's look at this thing. So this is the address book, which is per organization, hosted on the Domino server. Did I start the application? I single clicked on it, I double clicked on it, and I clicked and then clicked enter. Right click, open. When it's taking way too much time to do things, one thing to do is to actually look in an application that has the old graphical user interface. So this, semi-transparent aqua style status bar. And in here we have more information in the sense that we have the last string that has been shown in the status bar, but also the previous ones. We can also see some action in here in the HCL Domino server, and I'm not sure how from here, from the HCL Domino administrator server console, and also from the last client application, HCL Domino Designer. Let's open it up. Maybe my installation is wrong, or I know, because I haven't seen these slow loading previously on previous versions of HCL Domino. So on version 9 or version 10. Where do we see? If we don't have enough RAM, we have random access memory, so 10 gigabytes allocated to the virtual machine, and says only 4.4 used. And the hard disk is in fact SSD with VirtIO, so it's really fast, and it should not stay at more than 2% usage constant. And we see that it goes back to 0% often, which means that the hard disk is not a bottleneck, so it's not doing intense input-output operations. The CPU is also relaxed. Okay, and now we have the third HCL Domino client application started, HCL Domino Designer. In here we have a new graphical user interface style status bar. So the old one has a expander. You can see the previous message that have been shown in the status bar. Where are you? Whereas in the new UI, you only see the last string in the status bar. So in this case, both old graphical user interface and new graphical user interface show the empty string because there's nothing to show in the status bar. But then in the new UI, I don't know how to look at the previous messages that have been displayed in the status bar, where in the old UI, I know it's this arrow, up arrow. Okay. All of the three client applications are the same process, connected to the same server with the same credentials. It's the same Domino connection. It says in here session. It says open session and close session. So the current session is opened, not closed yet. And we have the view with progress. Where is that thing? Where we can see if an operation has been started by an HCL Domino client up and not finished yet, which is not the case. There's this button, remove all finished operations. If an application starts slower or takes a while to open a mail application, etc., you can see what the client applications are actually doing by looking in here and by pressing this button from time to time, remove all finished operations. If it's showing, I don't know, synchronizing NSF file with a template from the server, or things that might take a while, this is the place where you're going to get the most up-to-date and complete information about a operation that has been started over this session that has not finished yet. And the session is kind of single-threaded. So when you have a long operation that's taking seconds, you cannot send emails meanwhile or receive emails meanwhile. Okay, where is HCL notes? In here, so we try to open the directory. Let's see what the progress shows. Really fast. When HCL Domino server starts, it says that there's an error related to the Domino domain application. Let's see where that error is. This one says admin process received the following error performing a update server's protocol information request for names.nsf. Names.nsf might be this one. We can see that. We'll check it in a moment. Okay. Then per the current installation of the client, there are these three applications. Let's look at the administrator's contacts. This is a welcome page. Some NSF applications have such a thing. You can have it always appear when you open the NSF file, or maybe it's configured such that it only is shown once, or it might be shown each time you reopen the application. Okay, this is how it looks like. Let's see what application this one is. So this is on local, not on the server. Names.nsf. So it's this names.nsf application. So it might be that this is also a contacts application and it's names.nsf on the server, the exact application that we can see the error about, this one. Okay. Let's try to open from the server using HCL nodes this application. You can do that file, open, HCL nodes application, not on my computer, but on the server. and it's named notes.nsf. This one, Domino's directory. Exactly this application is names.nsf, the application that we have the error about. And now we have successfully opened it. We cannot open it using this shortcut, or what this thing is. Where is it currently opened? Let's reopen Notes. There's this confirmation message box when you exit HCL Notes, so the client. You probably always enable this checkbox such that it doesn't confirm next time. You can open the client applications also from the other client applications. So from HCL Domino Designer, you can open HCL Notes. Okay. Launch Notes. Back to the workspace. Does not work like this. Okay. Let's look at the next application, which is bookmarks on local. The workspace is blocked. Okay, what is this discover page? I'm not sure what it is. You can open the workspace like this. This is the calendar application. It's running on the server. It's the same mail /adminis.nsf. So it's the mail application running on the server. Okay. What else can we do? This menu from the file behaves differently. Sometimes it looks like this. Sometimes it looks like this. This is probably when the current tab is not an NSF file. That's the best guess that I have. Because if it's an NSF file, then you have way richer file menu in the main menu of HCL Notes. And you also have this option, file, application, and then properties. whereas workspace is probably not an NSF. That's why you have the simpler main menu file. This is an interesting bug. After exit, there's a empty menu item where you can open applications, for instance, on the, if you're lucky, like this. File, open, HCL Notes application. So you can open NSF files either on the client or from the client or from the server. The client is not that interesting. There's these bookmarks, bookmark.nsf file, where you can put shortcuts, Ctrl-Shift-L. New email. So this is a personalized start page style application. Okay, we already saw the contacts. It's an address book and it's empty. And it's backed by local names.nsf. Okay, this application you'll have to open it manually with file, open, HCL Notes application on the server, and then this one, Domino orgs directory should be names.nsf. Okay, so this is similar to the entire Microsoft Active Directory server. So there you have people, you have whatever, users, you have groups of users, you have organizational units, you have group policies, replication between multiple directories, interrogations, LDAP server, query language. Most of the settings that you do on the server are actually being stored in here. Things like if this server is just a replica, if you have multiple servers, how many of the existing users have administrative privileges on the server, which areas of the server has each administrator access to, etc. Okay, and since we're also running the HTTP server, maybe we also have iNotes enabled. Let's see if that's the case, which is the web app for accessing email from a plain web browser, which also works on mobile devices. Okay, how do we test that? Let's look at the list of applications in here, and let's see if we have the iNotes NSF available on the server. This guy. Okay, and the URL should be localhost :80, which is the same thing as localhost. if we look at the list of running applications that are listening on the TCP ports, so that's netstart minus -bp TCP, we can see that on port 80 is listening the process with process ID 11084 and with the process executable name and http.exe. So all of these processes with .exe extension that start with N and then a standard protocol come from the HCL Domino server. So NSMTP for sending email, the SMTP protocol, and HTTP for the HTTP server, and POP3 for patching emails by a email client, POP3 client from the HCL Domino POP3 server. And IMAP, the same thing, but using another protocol, not POP3, but IMAP. And LDAP for queries and other actions using the standard LDAP protocol for the HCL Domino directory server, so for names.nsf application running on the server. And server, I do not know what this thing is. And that's it for the processes that are listening. There are more processes, but they're not listening. So listening means TCP server, and established, etc. means TCP clients. There's also this guy on port 139, but we only know that it's process ID 4. Let's see who is process ID 4. It's system and the operating system kernel.exe. Okay. And in here, after we connect to the HTTP server, we need to specify the relative path to administ.nsf, to the email application of the user. So again, let's look at the name. HCL Domino data. So relative to the data directory. So there's mail and then administ.nsf. Mail / and then this string. Okay. Asks for user and password. We have them here. So it's administrator. We'll see if just the user without specifying the domain or the server works okay. And now we're inside the iNotes web application. That's very useful if you can expose it over HTTPS and secure it. You can provide, and then you expose it over the internet, I don't know, from a demilitarized zone or something. Then the users in your organization, when they're outside of your local area network, or when they're inside your VPN, virtual private network, then they can read their email without having access to a Mac OS or Windows machine, for instance, from their phones or from a tablet or from an, I don't know, iPad or something, by using just the standard web browser from a TV. The URL is like this, a IPv4 address or a hostname that they can reach, and then the rest of the URL is /mail /administ.nsf for the user administrator. Okay. Also in here we have the possibility of seeing the only email. which is this one. You can double click it to open it. It will open in a new tab. The same thing that happens in the FAT client. You open the only email message. By double clicking on it, it's going to be shown in a new tab. The application is the same on the server mail/admins.nsf. Okay, and then you have a context menu, you have a toolbar, and then you also have the actions element in the main menu of HCL nodes. For instance, if you want to reply all, you can go from the HCL nodes main menu actions, reply to all, or from the toolbar, reply to all, or if the email is just previewed in the main view, in the main tab of the email application, you can go right click on it and reply to all, or from the toolbar, reply to all, or from the actions menu, reply to all. Okay, a similar user interface is available also via the web app that's somehow parallel to this view. So this is the NSF file mail/admins.nsf shown in a HCL Domino client, and this is the application shown in iNotes that's running on the server and that's being used from a web browser. Okay, so we have a tab for the main view of the application. We have a tab for the email. The icons are different, and this application received few facelifts in the last 10 years, whereas this received more. Okay, you have this collapser button, similar to this one. You have a, let's collapse the sidebar. The tree of email directories in the main tab of the email application is similar. Let's see. So there's inbox, drafts, send, follow up, all documents. Okay. The important ones are inbox, send, and all documents, which exist in both versions of the email application. Okay, this round button for unread emails, or what is this thing, exists in both applications. Sorting by date exists in both applications. You can sort by subject, like this. The toolbars are similar. The show menu is similar. Let's see how we compose emails. How do we do that? New message. New message. Okay, the graphical user interface for composing emails is also similar to CC/BCC subject. From, there's no columns in here in the FAT client version. Okay, and then if you want to open other parts of the mail application, there's the calendar view, which is this thing. This is, I'm not sure what. Contacts for this user. Stored on the server, but I do not know the name of this application. There's a to-do list, which I don't know how to open. Create to-do, this thing. To-do, how do we create a to-do? New to-do. Okay, so large parts of the mail NSF file are exposed via the web application iNotes. So this is it. This is how you buy HCL Domino 14, how you download the installers, how you install the server, how you configure the server, how you install the clients, the three ones, HCL Nodes, Domino Designer, and Domino Administrator, how you configure them to connect to the correct Domino server, and then walk through the HCL Nodes mail application that's running on the server with its many facets. There's emails, calendaring, contacts address book, to-do list, notebooks for notes. All of these you can create from here. There's reminder, appointment, etc. And from here, they're exposed over a web application named iNotes, and the client applications run on Windows, all three of them, and some run on macOS. In the sense that, if I remember correctly, Domino Designer only runs on Windows. Thank you.